Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, because what we can see on this 4-hour time frame is Bitcoin bouncing from this big level of support, sitting from 70,000 all the way down to 68.5k. And if this push to the upside continues, Bitcoin is going to run into this level of short-term resistance sitting at 70.5k. With above that big level of resistance right here from 71,000 all the way up to 73,000 US dollars. Although before we get ahead of ourselves here, we do have to take into account this 0.786 Fibonacci level sitting at 70.2k, roughly speaking, that Bitcoin is about to run into. So potentially we could see a rejection from here, considering this is a level of resistance. Although yes, if we do see a break above, potentially retesting this as a level of support and then getting a resumption, then yes, we can assume that at the very least we are going to reach up to this 71.7k level, although that 71.7k level is actually part of a massive ascending triangle for Bitcoin. So in the case that the price actually reaches up to that level, you really need to pay attention to what happens here, because this is a major level of short-term resistance for Bitcoin. Although if we do actually break out to the upside, flipping it into a level of support, well, in that case, Bitcoin is breaking out from this massive ascending triangle pattern, and it would actually be targeting 87,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. So of course, if this happens, I will be flipping much more bullish. But as for now, I do want to show you guys some warning signals in this video. And as you know, if you watch these videos regularly, typically I am a little bit more reserved in my analysis compared to other people that are making YouTube videos about crypto. For example, I want to show you guys this daily time frame for Bitcoin, because right here you can see a descending trend line in the RSI momentum indicator. So for example, what in my opinion could be a possibility here is that we do see that RSI move further to the upside and potentially even breaking out above of this ascending triangle pattern, however, not breaking out above this descending line of resistance. And in that case, it is completely possible that we see something like this where we start trading above the ascending triangle and then get a rejection from the RSI momentum indicator on the 1-day time frame, followed by an invalidation of that ascending triangle pattern and actually much more bearish momentum coming after that for Bitcoin. So over the next week or so, this is something that I am looking out for, because yes, if we get that rejection, I am expecting more downside for Bitcoin. Although if we do see a break above this descending line of resistance, flipping it into support, then I will be flipping much more bullish for Bitcoin and the overall crypto market. And what I just mentioned is actually part of a larger analysis that I just shared in the Road to 1 Million signals inside the Discord server. So if you do want to go check that out, then I recommend you join the Discord server with the first link in the description of this video that you're watching right now. So now coming back to these lower timeframes here, for example, this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, you can see that we are still breaking out from this ascending triangle pattern. And as I mentioned in my recent videos here, I am not flipping much more bearish until I actually see, for example, an invalidation of this ascending triangle pattern, which is whenever we start trading below the 68.8k level, which is the point of the breakout. And so long as that does not happen, Bitcoin is actually targeting this 75,000 US dollar level. So I will just continue to repeat this. So long as we don't invalidate this pattern, Bitcoin is actually targeting this price level. And as soon as we do see that invalidation, so getting 4-hour candle closes below this level, then in that case, we can cross off this price target and it is no longer active, meaning that Bitcoin is no longer targeting this price. So now let's take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. First of all, on the 24-hour time frame, where just now we took out a bunch of liquidity to the upside right here at 70.1k. Although so far we have left a bunch of liquidity to the upside here as high as 70.5k. And what we can see right now is that actually since taking out this liquidity right here, most of the liquidity is now to the downside as low as 69.1k. So of course, if you are new to this channel and you haven't seen this chart before, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And right now you can see that there's a little bit of liquidity to the upside left, but most of the liquidity is to the downside. So that is important to take note of. Although if we do zoom out to the 1 week time frame, it becomes very clear that most of the liquidity is in fact to the upside. So it is very important that you take a look at the different time frames here for the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps. And yes, I do think it is possible for the Bitcoin price to reach this price level at 72.6K without actually breaking this trend on the RSI momentum indicator. So potentially you can just, like I was saying earlier, see a rejection from there or even a move above. And then when it retests that trend line as a level of support, then falling through it once again. So in that case, it would have taken out all of that liquidity to the upside, getting a rejection from the RSI momentum indicator, and then falling down from there. Now, I know that all of this sounds pretty bearish. And like I said, if we do see something like this, a break above, then testing it as a level of support and actually a resumption from there, then of course I will be flipping much more bullish. But so long as that doesn't happen, technically we are still just in a downtrend on the RSI momentum indicator. And taking that into consideration, I do think it would be foolish for me to be extremely bullish right now and open up a huge long position before I see a confirmation that we are actually breaking the downtrend here. Now taking a look at Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame, because we are still ranging in between this 0.786 and this 0.618 Fibonacci level. So between $4,000 and $33.30. So moving on to the support and resistance levels here, you can see this short-term level of support sitting at $36.50, where again we have seen Ethereum after a quick and small move to the downside hold it as a level of support. So that is a good thing in the short term. Although if we do fall below that level, flipping it into a level of resistance right here, then the next level of support below that is sitting from $35.30 all the way down to $34.30. But in the case that this bounce was all we're going to see in terms of bearish price action, then the next level of resistance to the upside is right here from $37.50 all the way up to $38.00. And then above that, we do have these two short-term levels of resistance at $38.50 and $39.20. So those are some important price levels to pay attention to for Ethereum. And now moving on to Solana on the 4-hour time frame, where just like Bitcoin and ETH, we saw a massive move to the downside. This was about an 11% move down in a couple of hours here. So we traded below the 0.5 Fibonacci level, and we are right now getting a potential third rejection from that level back to back to back. So if over the next couple hours or potentially days, we don't see Solana trading above that 0.5 level, then we could expect to see a further move to the downside as low as this 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at $151 for the price of Solana. So taking a look at the short-term levels of support and resistance here for Solana, currently we are in a move to the upside. So there is some short-term resistance right here at $164. And a little bit below that, we also have the Fibonacci level sitting at 163. Although if we do break above those two levels, then there is this big level of resistance sitting at 166, all the way up to $171 for the price of Solana. Although again, if we get a move to the downside, then yes, we do have some short-term support right here at $160, with below that the next level of support sitting at 155. And of course, like I was talking about earlier, we have that Fibonacci support right there at 151. So you would really want to see Solana hold this as a level of support if we do end up going this low, because falling below that would be extremely bearish for Solana in the short term here. Although yes, just like Bitcoin, I am still long-term bullish on Solana because in my opinion, we are still in a bull run. So it is to be expected that we will go up and go higher at some point. Although in these videos, I am analyzing the short term for Solana. And yeah, right now it just doesn't look extremely bullish, all right? So like I said, pay attention to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is bullish, likely we will see Solana do the same. And if Bitcoin is bearish, then likely again, Solana will do the same. This has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.